welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Jessica, and if you don't know me, I'm a mom of 3 little boys, and I decided to take on this challenge of renovating our RV. There was nothing wrong with it, but I just wanted to update it. So here I am on my 4th or 5th video in this series, and today I am upholstering the cushions. They were like a dark green, brownish, checkered thingy. But I took those cushions off, and here I am making my own that are gonna be just more updated, more pretty in my opinion. So I started by buying this plywood. It was $25 from Home Depot, and right now I am measuring the cushions. I'm measuring the plywood to be smaller than the cushions by about 1 inch on each side. I want it to be smaller so that when you're gonna sit down, your legs aren't going to be touching it or like scratching on it. I'm not doing this perfectly by any means. I am just doing it by eye, and it doesn't really matter because the purpose of the plywood is to hold the staples, which we are going to be stapling the fabric to the plywood. So it turned out good. My handy husband helped me to cut it, and I got to work. This is the distance that I had in between, and each one was just a tiny bit different. I am measuring the sides, all of them, so that I know how much fabric I should cut. We also bought this fabric from Home Depot. It's a painter's fabric, so it was super cheap for a really large amount. We decided to go with this because we have small kids, and most likely any fabric is going to be ruined, and we know that, but this one's also pretty and it just works. And yes, this is me struggling to get a straight surface on this makeshift table. That is why I moved to the RV to find a clean, larger surface that I can measure it on. I measured out the measurement. I added 4 inches to each side so that I can have that hangover to staple it to the bottom. So I measured the top, both sides, and then I added 4 inches on every side, if that makes sense. That's the measurements that I cut out for my cushions. Now I'm finally ready to put this thing together. So I put the foam touching the fabric and the plywood on top, which is technically the bottom. I had a moment of doubting my stapling skills, so that's what that is. I started with the longest side, so I folded them in, made sure that it was even fabric on both sides. Please leave out at least like 4 to 5 inches from the corners. Staple the middle part of each section and leave 4 to 5 inches away from the end on each side. So do that on the longest sides, do that on the shorter sides, because that's going to get your corners to be a lot better and cleaner finish. I ended up taking some out later when I was making those corners because the fabric just wouldn't lift in order for me to make it a perfect corner. Every time that I am stapling, I am also pulling the fabric as tight as I can so that it's going to be a nice tight finish and not be all, wrinkly, wobbly. Go around doing that on every side. Now, my hands hurt. I got some blisters from doing this. It took a lot of arm strength. It took a lot of hand strength, actually. So that's what the corners should like they will be all flimsy. Here I am pretending that there is a line down the middle and cutting out. I want to minimize the fabric so that it's not going to have a bulky look or feel to it. That's why I'm cutting as much as is necessary to take off, but also not everything completely so that I would have enough to staple it to the board. I played around with these corners for a long time, trying to get what I want, the look that I'm going for to make it a clean finish. I ended up doing this. It's kind of like a tuck-in corner, and it turned out to be a lot easier than some of the other options that I saw. I took one hand and tucked it into there to create a pocket, with the other hand pulling to make it a sharp corner. Once I was satisfied with the corner, I would just staple it, and all the fabric that gathers around there, I would pinch it and staple that as well, having it be visible on the bottom but not the sides and the top, so that you're not going to see any like extra lines. So let's just rewind, do that one more time so that it can be memorized faster and better. You're going to first buy an RV, then have the motivation to renovate it. Once you've done that, you're gonna buy some plywood, your foam cushions, get the fabric, find a staple gun, and get to work. So you're gonna measure out the plywood, cut it a little bit shorter than the foam piece, then measure the fabric in order for it to have 4 inches more on every single side. Staple the middle portions of every corner, leaving out 4 to 5 inches, and then tuck your hand in to create a pocket effect, trimming the fabric as necessary. Staple all of the corners and repeat with each corner and each cushion, and it looks like this. I am very satisfied with the turnout of these. I might Velcro the bottoms to the actual seating area so that it's not going to move around. And I mean, it's not moving around, but just because I have kids and they jump and everything, it might. So here it is.